2019 loaded with many Major League Baseball free agents as myself and Joe Meave gonna break it down for you guys here in the next episode of Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to Sideline Sports Podcast. I am the host, Alex Naveja, and if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome you all inside of the 22 West Studios. I am the host, Alex Naveja, and with me today is Mr. Joe Meave. He is the captain of the Long Beach State Club baseball team, along with he is the Major League Baseball analysis. So, Joe, thank you so much for being on the show, and we appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it, yeah.
So, before we start off with today's episode, we like to say this episode is brought to you by Lean Mean Meals. They can provide you with your breakfast, lunch, and with your dinner. They also have detox juices along with your cold brew coffee. I'll put the website down in the description down below. Make sure to use my promo code SIDELINE10 to save you guys 10% off. And we thank you all so much for all of the love and the viewership from the last episode. We greatly appreciate it. Along with Ms. Dominguez, he really appreciated all of the love that you guys showed. But you know what? Let's get things started, Joe. I mean, we have a lot of business to take care of. Let's go straight into it as we're going to talk about some Major League Baseball free agency. Let's start right at the top and let's talk about Gerrit Cole. This was a big-time pitcher for the Houston Astros. He didn't contribute to the sign stealing in 2017 because he wasn't with them yet. So, I mean, he's probably just see, I just came into the organization and now I'm hearing about this. So, yeah, I gotta go now. So, where are we expecting Gerrit Cole to go, Joe?
You know, I mean, it says a lot to what you just said. He was like, I just showed it to the organization, and he might have found out, and he was just like, I'm not about this. I mean, there was a couple guys, was it Mike Fiers, who came out and said, he was like, hey, like this is what happened, this was the deal. I feel like Gerrit Cole, maybe you saw at the end of the Game 7 interview, he was just like, hey, I'm not part of the Houston Astros. I'm not employed by them. I feel like he's willing to take any option. And I feel like he's just willing to take the money. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of an obvious choice. Not an obvious choice, but I think who has the most money. You already know. The Yankees. The Yankees have the most money to offer him, and I feel like they do need the pitching. They did struggle. Not struggle, but I mean they did kind of show in the playoffs. They needed starting pitching. Their bullpen's pretty good, but their starting pitching is where they lacked. That was one of their weaknesses, so Gerrit Cole could definitely contribute there.
That's a pretty good choice. I have to say, if Gerrit Cole can go there to the Yankees, I really think that would be a huge move for the Yankees, and I think that would be the difference maker of them getting eliminated in the ALCS and for them to go to the World Series, and that's a big-time game changer for Gerrit Cole, and that's a pretty good choice. But you know what? My choice, I really think he's going to the Angels.
Oh yeah, that was my second pick. It's either Angels or the Padres. Yeah, Angels or the Padres.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it. Yeah.
So I like the Angels' choice just because the Angels, they need to make starting pitching moves. This is just, it's their time now.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what? They've been losing for such a long time. They extended Mike Trout's contract. Look at that. He's going to be a lifetime for Angel. And you know what? Sure. I have a lot of respect for him re-signing with the Angels. Yeah. And he's going to be like a Derek Jeter type of player where he's going to stay loyal to the Angels. And I just think it's the Angels' time. I think the Astros are going to fall out of the map. And I really think the Angels need to start making moves like signing a Gerrit Cole, even maybe like a Zach Wheeler. That could be another pitcher that can be big time for the Angels. If they can sign both of those pitchers right there and maybe a reliever, I think they're pretty set.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think the Astros are going to fall off the map. I mean, I feel like they have a good, strong core. They do have Trinos coming off a contract. They do have McCullers coming off an injury. That's another starting pitcher. Losing Gerrit Cole wouldn't be the worst thing. I do like what you say about Gerrit Cole signing with the Angels. It's very good. Angels they've had the same issue for years. Angels have always had a good offensive. They have a good offensive team. They're a great lineup. They're not a bad team. They're a major league professional baseball team. They're gonna go out there and compete. And you think about it, they have lost Tyler Skaggs. They did lose Nick Aidenhart a couple years ago. They lose a lot of pitchers to injuries. I don't know. I feel like the Angels is just kind of like a plague, I guess, with starting pitching. I don't think Angels is going to be Garrett Cole's first choice. It is going to be a good option for him. Padres would be another good option for him. Padres have a really good lineup. Really good lineup. I think it's going to be between those three teams. Padres, Angels, Yankees. Garrett Cole's going to land somewhere there. But, yeah.
I really wouldn't doubt any of those teams. I mean, they're all great choices, and I mean, I know Garrett Cole, former UCLA Bruin, he's definitely going to look for a spot maybe here in SoCal. Yankees, they're going to be in there hunting for some starting pitching, and you know what? Starting pitching. What about Steven Strasburg? This is another guy who was big time for the Washington Nationals, came up huge in the World Series, and just throughout the playoffs the whole entire time. And what perfect time for Steven Strasburg to be big and his price to just skyrocket up.
I feel like Strasburg has been hungry for a while. I mean, when he came back, coming into the league, there was so much like on him, like pressure. It was just like, hey, we're gonna like take care of this guy. You know, there was. I forget what year it was that they went into the playoffs and they shut him down. And it was like, why are you going to shut down your greatest pitcher like that your franchise has ever seen? And I feel like he's hungry. And I think he's going to go – he's going to definitely favorite the Nationals because he was drafted there. And that's kind of his home team. Not his home team, but I mean that's where he learned how to play. You know, that's where he felt most comfortable in the MLB. I feel like he feels most comfortable there. But, he is definitely going to listen to offers. I think ultimately he ends up with the Nationals. He ends up back with the Nationals. So.
Funny that you even mentioned the Nationals because he even rejected the offer.
Yes,
the qualifying
he did.
offer.
Yes,
I believe it was
yes.
$17.8 million.
Yeah.
But
it's a qualifying offer. They're definitely going to come back and they'll offer him some money for sure. Yeah.
I definitely think that they're going to come up with something big, like a big time contract. Okay,
yeah.
Harper didn't sign with us, so you know what? We're not about to lose Steven Strasburg as well.
Exactly.
So I really think they're going to look at the money, look at the financials. Let's take a look at let's take a look at the checkbooks, the account right now. Oh, hey, look, you know what? I think we could probably offer something a little less than the Harper deal and try to get him to stay here, but because. That's a great move. Nationals can't lose a pitcher like that. That you would lose that somewhat of like that dominant starting rotation that the Nationals seem to always have. But sorry, Joe, I can't say the same as you.
What you got?
I've got the Padres.
Okay.
I really.
Yeah. He San Diego State.
Former Aztec.
I like it. Yeah.
Former Aztec.
I like that. Yeah.
Who knows? He may have the blues right now. He's already, you know what? I got the hardware already. I have a World Series ring. Let me go back home and let me help the Padres out. You know, this is the only sports team in San Diego. Unless if you go to like San Diego State, UC San Diego or USD or anything like that. But you know, him going back home to San Diego wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah. I mean, not kind of off topic, but you look at Kawhi and Paul George. They did the same thing. Kawhi, you know, he went to San Diego State. Paul George from Palmdale? They're like, hey, let's come to the Clippers. Let's take on a challenge. Why not? Why not take this on? You know, great athletes like a challenge. You know, they don't like anything that's handed to them. And Steven Strasburg's an elite athlete, elite pitcher. You know, he's top notch. So.
And you know, Steven Strasburg has had amazing numbers against the Dodgers. So I mean, maybe if he comes to San Diego. He's going to try to be that top dog in that National League West. I mean, he's going to want to kick off the Dodgers and kick them out and be like, you know what? It's Padres time.
Yeah.
You know what? It's Friars time. We're going back with the brown and gold unis. We're going to make this happen right now. We're going to try to
start
be
something new.
Up there. Exactly. Yeah. It was like back in 2010, 2011 or 12 where the Padres were almost in the playoffs.
I think it was 2010. They did like a game 163. It's either 2010 or 2012. It was with the Giants Padres. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on it, but I remember it. But yeah, going back to what I said about him going to the Nationals, I've always been a big believer on like when it comes to the playoffs, it only comes down to like 3 pitchers. It comes down to like 3 starting pitchers, and then 2 like solid relief pitchers. Then you need a solid closer. And look at the Nationals. They got it. I mean, they got Anibal Sanchez. Max Scherzer, Patrick Corbin, they just signed a huge deal. And they signed Strasburg again. They got Doolittle in the pen. I mean,
You're forgetting Daniel Hudson.
Hudson as well. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It comes down. That's what it comes down to the playoffs. And I feel like the Nationals have the pieces. They did lose Parra to a Japanese deal this morning. But I mean, other than that, they have the pieces. Howie Kendrick is a free agent. I feel like the Nationals would put out some money for him just to re-sign. You know, he's not a great glove, but he definitely could fill in some spots. You know, play some games. But yeah.
Do they go back to the baby shark with Eduardo Parra being gone? Is he?
I don't know. I feel like that was kind of his thing. They're gonna leave his legacy there. That's just, you know, it was a great time. That was definitely fun. But yeah, they don't go back to that.
I think it's done, and
yeah.
I think his sunglasses days with Anibal Sanchez is also going to be gone too as well. But let's talk about the next free agent. We have Josh Donaldson.
Yeah.
This is going to be somewhat of a tricky free agent to talk about,
Very
only
tricky.
because he accepted a 1-year deal, free agency deal, last year with Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
His age is a big-time problem for him. This isn't a guy that's going to get some big blockbuster deal. This is a guy that's going to at least maybe want 2 to 4 years on that contract, but he wants to make great numbers annually.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be earning a lot annually. So Josh Donaldson, some teams that could be in the mix. I mean, we've been hearing about the Texas Rangers being one of them, Philadelphia Phillies being one of them. But you know what, Joe? Who do you think Josh Donaldson will end up with?
I mean, I like the Phillies. Going back to what you said they're not going to give him a big deal. You got to think there is. We're going to talk about him, but there's Rendon. Rendon, you know,
we're saving that one.
Yes,
we're saving
he's
that
another
one.
third baseman. So Donaldson, you know, he's a third baseman. He could. I don't know how well he could play third instead of shortstop. I think he came up as a catcher. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he came up as a catcher. I'm pretty sure I've seen highlights, and I've seen him when I first seen him play. He was with the A's. He came up as a catcher. He's not going to go back to as a catcher. But I mean, you got to think about the teams like the Phillies, the Cardinals. You know, they have the right pieces there. He's likely going to go to a team that's going to win, that wants to win at least. The Cardinals, Phillies, Braves be a good fit for him. But yeah, he's definitely not going to get a max contract. He could get some big money. He's definitely going to get big money. But I do like those 3 teams.
Hear me out, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I got something crazy for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
We have not talked about the boys in blue.
We have not, no.
This is an and. No, this is going to be an and or.
Mm-hmm.
More like an or. Josh Donaldson signs a deal with the Dodgers.
Okay.
Justin Turner.
Justin
Turner goes to first, and they're going to bargain. They're going to go with Josh Donaldson to be their third baseman.
Okay.
Because they want to go big in pitching. They may want to re-sign Ryu.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe potentially be a sleeper team and maybe go for Garrett Cole.
Yeah, and be a team that just comes out, throws the money out to be like, here, just take it all, take my money, and just be a team that wants to compete. I mean, they've been the NL West champs, 7 years? Since 2013?
7 years.
Yeah, they're definitely a team. They're attractive. You know, it's LA. People like to come play for LA. So I think they could definitely. They have room to even trade some assets away. So they could definitely make room for some big names like that.
Oh, we have some big names that we got to talk about as well in Sideline Sports Podcast. But we're going to go ahead and take our quick break. But when we come back, we still have some big hot free agents to talk about, along with a little bit of Dodgers. I mean, we have a little to talk about because I have a trade that could potentially happen for the boys in blue. But don't go away. We'll be right back here in Sideline Sports Podcast. If you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast.
What's up, guys? This is Mitch Dominguez, NPC Men's Physique competitor, and you're watching Sideline Sports Podcast.
Welcome back to Sideline Sports Podcast, presented by Lean Mean Meals. We were talking about the last remaining big free agents that are coming up in 2019. Let's talk about the big bopper himself, Anthony Rendon. This was a big-time, underrated MVP candidate for the Washington Nationals. And if you're the Nationals, you really need to take a look at your checkbook right now, your account now, because you have Steven Strasburg, big-time pitcher, who is just absolutely maybe like one of the greatest in the games now because of his resume. And then now you have Anthony Rendon, another All-Star. You got 2 All-Stars that are in the free agency. So you're just, what do you do? Where do you focus on? So without further ado, where does Rendon end up this offseason?
I think we got to. This goes back to Zimmerman. I think Zimmerman is on. That was his last year of his contract. If I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he's gonna retire. If he comes back, I don't know what he does. Again, don't quote me on that. But I feel like Nationals is the best fit for Rendon. Howie Kendrick could play first base. He could be their everyday first baseman. They could definitely get away with that. Spending less money. There's no Zimmerman contract. They could definitely blow more money on Rendon. Again, teams like the Cardinals, the Phillies, the Dodgers could. I know the Dodgers have been in talks with Rendon, signing Rendon. But I think ultimately he does end up with the Nationals. But there are definitely possibilities. Personally, I think he ends up with the Nationals. I feel like they're going to give him the money he deserves. I feel like he definitely could have beaten out Bellinger for the MVP. I know you're not supposed to look into the where your team ends up in the playoffs, what happens, but Rendon did carry his team through. He did struggle a little bit in NLCS, but all come World Series, come throughout the whole season, he was their guy. He was their he was the face franchise, other than Zimmerman, but yeah.
I don't really imagine him being anywhere else. I
Exactly.
see photos of him with the Dodgers and just having like the Dodger uniform photoshopped on him, and it's pretty tough to imagine. This is why it's something I can't really imagine. The Dodgers are pursuing him, and I just don't see it.
Yeah,
I just don't see
neither.
Rendon being there, and I really think that the Nationals will dig deep into their checkbook, and I really think they will stay with him. They're going to keep him and Howie Kendrick. I think that would be a pretty brilliant move, especially with the errors that he committed in the playoffs. There were so many balls going through his legs.
Yeah.
It was like a game of croquet. Like the ball was going right through the the little hooks from croquet.
Yeah.
So I think that move, Howie Kendrick going to first and then keeping Anthony Rendon, you got to keep him. He is a big asset to the organization.
Huge. Big
and this is another thing as well. Or with the Josh Donaldson deal, the Dodgers could pursue him.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dodgers need to focus on something else. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the big topic. But Anthony Rendon, I really think he should stay there in Washington, and he made himself a big name there.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think when they did their whole World Series celebration, before they popped some bottles of champagne, he was like, "This is my town, this is my city," and sure enough, they just they celebrated after that. It could have been him just saying, "I love it here," not necessarily implying that he's going to resign. But I mean, that's definitely something you could look into. I mean, it's just if he likes playing there, he's definitely going to want to maybe take some money out that contract. Be like, "Hey, yeah, I'm just willing to play here. I like it here. I'm comfortable here."
Right.
So,
Right. So let's talk about the next free agent on our list, and it's Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Yep.
Excellent lefty pitcher for the Dodgers. This guy came up so big, and this was the full season of him being healthy. And wow, he was even a candidate for the NL Cy Young Award. So this is a big-time arm that's on the free agency market, and he just left every Dodger fan and every baseball fan with his jaw dropped. Because when I was on my way over here, I have to admit, shout out to Michael Blanco, because I will mention the phone call that we had on the way over here. He was saying, Hyun-Jin Ryu is not a bad pitcher.
No, he's not.
He is a great pitcher that has filthy stuff. And this is a guy that can make a difference in any ball club, and he could be a number one. I mean, he was already a number one for the Dodgers. So just imagine him being on a non-contending team and just helping these non-contending teams move up the standings. So, Hyun-Jin Ryu, where do you see him going?
First of all, shout out to the Handy brothers. I know we've had a couple of disputes about Hyun-Jin Ryu and Kenta Maeda, and Hyun-Jin Ryu has backed me up about my word. I've always been a Hyun-Jin Ryu fan. I mean, when he came up, when Dodgers signed him, 2013, it was just like, I like this guy. And he's been injury prone for a while. He's had some trouble, I know, in his youth. He had Tommy John. He's had some shoulders, some back issues, and recently some groin issues, leg issues. But that hasn't, the leg issues aren't really a big factor. And this year, he was completely healthy. Again, I personally thought he was going to win the Cy Young. Not being biased, I just thought he. I don't know. I thought he was. He led the league in ERA, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he's an elite pitcher. He's a pitcher. He knows, he's definitely finesses his way through games. He's able to keep your team through ball games. He did have a rough last month. But if you look at it through the whole season of baseball, people do have rough weeks. They go through slumps. Ultimately, I think the Dodgers do re-sign him. You have to look at Rich Hill kind of on his way out. Kershaw's not the same Kershaw. Stripling could definitely go both ways. Bullpen, starter Maeda, same way. The Dodgers could definitely use Ryu. They do have Urias. I think he ends up with the Dodgers. That's just me. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with two teams here for this one because, if you look at it, the Dodgers must re-sign Ryu. It's a must.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's always the option of if he doesn't.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't, I'm going to say that they're going to lose him to either the Rangers or the Braves.
I can see the Braves, yeah. Definitely see the Braves, yeah.
I can see the Braves only because, look at that, they've already signed Chris Martin along with Will Smith. They're just, you know what, hey, we're here to win.
Yeah.
Let's sign some guys already, put the pressure on other teams, you know what, free agency just started, let's get things going, you know. The bullpen was something that needed to be bolstered up, so now I think they need to focus on that starting rotation. If they can't get Madison Bumgarner, then they need to get maybe a guy like Hyun-Jin Ryu. And then the Texas Rangers, their starting rotation, not exactly the greatest. Mike Minor was somebody that was big for them, so maybe if they add a Hyun-Jin Ryu, also that would get them up to the standings as well. They finished, I believe, 3rd place in the AL West, right behind the Oakland A's, so those would be some teams that I think would be very suitable for Hyun-Jin Ryu.
I can definitely see the Braves. I know the Braves, Keuchel signed that 1-year deal I think May. I think it was May. I don't know. I know he was holding out for some reason. He's a great pitcher. But I can see Ryu with the Braves. They could use him. The only name that pops out for me with the Braves is Fulton-Ewicz. They could definitely use some starting pitching. I know they struggled with that in the playoffs. It kind of bit them. That NLDS, you know. But I could see it. The Braves. I could see. What did you say again? The Rangers. Yeah, the Rangers. Yeah, they could definitely use some starting pitching. There's a lot of teams that need starting pitching. You could never go wrong with an abundance of starting pitching. It's great to have. He's a great. He's going to get you through games. He's going to keep you in it. But yeah. I'm still going to go back on my opinion. I think he gets up with the Dodgers. But yeah, definitely anything can happen. You never know.
And you know what? Just speaking of the Dodgers, we were talking about earlier on the episode where the Dodgers, they're sleeping right now. The Dodgers are an under-the-radar team. They're underground right now. They're just MIA right now.
Yeah.
Reason being is because of the whole buzz of Lindor.
Yeah.
Lindor to the Dodgers. And this is another thing that Michael Blanco and I were talking about before coming into the studio and talking about this. But you know what? I personally like this move. This is an upgrade. No offense to Corey Seager.
No.
Corey Seager, a great comeback season for Corey Seager. But maybe Seager moves to second. Maybe Seager to second, Lindor to short, and that itself would be a pretty nice little double play duo. Seager had elbow issues as well. He did, it was with the elbow, right?
Yeah, Tommy John.
There we go. He had Tommy John. So you want to secure the young kid. He still has a lot of years under his belt. But just imagine, Lindor there in the 6th position right there, and then turning a 4.63 right there, or a 6.43, like that would be pretty beautiful right there. And then having Turner there at first, and then you put Donaldson there at third, I think that's pretty splendid right there.
That's a great lineup as well, too. That's a pretty spooky lineup. People may argue, if moving Seager over to second base, he already is a tall shortstop. Look at DJ LeMahieu, though, at second base. He's an MVP candidate, this past year at least. Even with the Rockies, they're just amazing. But ultimately, I think the Dodgers are definitely going to move Seager. I don't know. That's just me. Eventually, they're not going to be able to afford him. Guys like Seager, Taylor, Bellinger, Muncy, they can't afford all of them. it's just you just can't. That's why they moved Puig, But I don't know why they signed Pollock. But that's a totally different topic. But eventually they can't afford all of these guys. They earn their paycheck. Trading for Lindor, maybe using him for a couple years. I don't know how much is left on his contract, but using him for a couple years, utilizing him, and let's go win that World Series now. That's a great mindset. They could definitely pull that off this season. Yeah, definitely something to think about. You do have Gavin Lux coming up at second base. You have Max Muncy who can play second base. I don't know what the deal is on Kike Hernandez. He's a definitely great infielder and outfielder. Turner, I know he came up as a second baseman. I don't know how likely he is to play second base. He can move over to first, play third. I know we don't have Freeze anymore. There's a lot of possibilities that can happen, but it's definitely interesting to talk about. It's fun.
I really think if the Dodgers, even if they did make a move like that, which honestly, there's that buzz going on, but the Dodgers haven't really been much of a team to give away all these prospects.
Yeah.
Because let's think realistically. Let's say Dodgers want to trade Lindor.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna give up possibly Peterson, Gavin Lux, and then two other pitchers.
Yeah.
Two other pitchers. And maybe that's Dustin May and Gonsolin, or who knows who it can be at that point for Lindor. So
yeah.
we haven't really seen the Dodgers to be that team to give away all these prospects, really.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see, is this really going to go through? And remember, Verdugo's going to come back from injury as well. So, I mean, you have Peterson, if he's on his way out, because there's already that talk, Peterson is on the trade block.
Yeah.
You put Verdugo there at left, and then you have Pollock at center, and then you have Bellinger there at right. So that's already a pretty dynamic outfield for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the one to have the most fun? Who's going to have a blast throughout this offseason? Who's going to be the one that comes up the winner this offseason? And unfortunately, with every game, there's always a winner and there's always a loser. Who is the loser in this offseason?
A loser? I feel like the Phillies and the Cardinals are going to lose out. They have great assets. I just feel like people aren't going to be too attracted to sign with them. They're not going to be too heavy to be like, hey, let's go play for them. I just feel like they're not going to get what they need, to be the top contenders. So.
I'm going to go really bold on loser, and I'm going to say the Houston Astros.
Okay.
Just because of the whole sign stealing and the whole the scandal that's going on with the front office. It's just, there's a lot going on with that Houston Astros front office right now, and it's just, there's going to be players thinking, do I really want to have to deal with these front office issues? I just want to come on the field and play ball and just go home. That's all I want to do. I don't want to have to deal with a problem with the front office. I have the general manager coming up to me and talking to me about issues or whatever. So I really think the Houston Astros would be a team that's going to lose out. And this isn't really a team that has a lot of money either.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't disagree with that take. I mean, the whole atmosphere there right now is just, I feel like nobody wants any part of it. I don't know. I have nothing against it. I'm a huge Dodgers fan, but bigger baseball fan, but nothing against the Astros. I just feel like that's just, it's a sports thing. I feel like it's, your team gets caught, it's just nobody wants to be a part of that. I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, there's just too many problems going on over there at Houston. But now, who's a winner for this offseason?
I feel like the Nats. I feel like the Nats are going to win it. Not win the whole thing, but I mean, I feel like they're gonna be the winner. And when it comes to free agency, I feel like they do sign Strasburg again. I know he's going to be enticed by the Padres and the Angels. So I feel like they could definitely re-sign him. They definitely re-signed Rendon, and they have the rest of the pieces there. I mean, I feel like they're the same. They're going to be the same team. So yeah.
My take as far as winning this offseason, I have the Atlanta Braves.
I like it. Yeah,
I'm all in on the Atlanta Braves right now. This is gonna be a great time to be a National League East fan, just to watch what's gonna be happening. Because remember, the Mets are gonna be a team that can be making some moves here and there as well. So just imagine having that National League East being really competitive again, just having the Nationals, former champions. You have the Atlanta Braves that are going to be right after, trying to chase after the former champions right there. You have the Mets that can also be a team that just they're only a couple of moves away. I mean, they're looking into Robinson Chirinos right now, so that's a pretty good defensive catcher for Ramos. Because remember, there was a scandal going on with Ramos, and then with Syndergaard and DeGrom, you never want to have any problems with your star players with DeGrom and with Syndergaard. Those are some big pitchers right there. You do not want to have problems with them. And it's been proven that DeGrom and Syndergaard's performance dwindled and it went downhill when Ramos was catching for them.
Yeah, you could think about Grandal. Grandal's a free agent this year too.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
Grandal's a free agent. I mean, he could. I mean, you never know. I mean, it all depends on who's gonna sign first. But I mean, yeah, I do like the idea of the Braves winning this offseason. They definitely have the pieces. They've proven to be electric. You know, through the whole season. Yeah, I like it. They're a good team. I'm all for seeing, mixing it up, these winners, just change it up. Yeah.
It's going to be so fun to see this free agency. And I mean, remember, winter meetings in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll wait to see if we have one of those typical winter meetings that we've been having these couple of years where we're just like, all right, winter meetings, let's go.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see something big, a big time trade, maybe the Lindor trade, or maybe a Strasburg sign somewhere else trade.
Yeah.
Or we're just going to have one of those where we're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and there's nothing. And we're going back to the studios and not going to be able to see anything on the winter meeting. So hopefully that there'll be some big time transactions, signs, tradings, whatever it is. But again, Joe, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for listening. Yeah.
And if you guys enjoyed this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast, make sure to give a thumbs up or even subscribe to the YouTube channel. And for those of you listening to us on Spotify, make sure to hit the follow button. There's plenty of content coming your way. This is just the start of it. And again, this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Lean Mean Meals. Make sure to get your meal prep done with Mish Dominguez. He got you with your breakfast, your lunch, and with your dinner. Also provides you with detox juices along with cold brew coffee. Use my promo code Sideline10 to save you guys 10% off on all of your orders. I'll make sure to put the website and a link down into the description down below. And once again, if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast, as I was the host, Alex Naveja, and again with me tonight was Mr. Joe Meave, Mr. President of the Long Beach State Club baseball team and MLB analyst. We'll see you guys next week on what's to come on Sideline Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night, everybody.